Have you ever been in a situation where you've been auto-victimized by your own ability to respond in an argument? Or have you ever been in one of those arguments where someone goes, fine, and you just know it's not fine? These two situations have something in common, and it's called shutting down. And this is a low-key relationship killer. If conflicts makes you uncomfortable, you're definitely not alone. But here's the thing. Discomfort doesn't mean danger. In fact, learning to handle disagreements with confidence can actually strengthen your relationships instead of breaking them. And today, we're going to break that habit and learn how to handle disagreements with confidence. Because in this video, I will share powerful techniques to help you break free from shutting down in arguments, elevate your self-esteem, and navigate any disagreement with confidence and grace. Because let's be honest, conflict is inevitable. I know it sucks, but it's life, right? The question isn't if you'll face it, it's when you'll face it and how you'll handle it. So let's make sure you do this with clarity, composure, and class. Do you encounter conflict in life? As Dan Shapiro would say, congratulations, you're human. Dan Shapiro, Harvard's expert in negotiation, says that conflict isn't something to fear, it's something to understand. Disagreements are woven in the fabric of human interaction. Whether with partners, colleagues, families, or even strangers online, conflict is inevitable. But how we handle it determines whether we strengthen our relationships or damage them beyond repair. The issue here is not what we argue about, it's how we argue about it. Conflict itself is not destructive. Poor communication is. Mishandled arguments create resentment, defensiveness, and emotional distance. But when handled with class and confidence, disagreements can become a catalyst for deeper understanding, trust, and growth. Not only will you feel better about yourself, you will see that your relationships will become more meaningful, more engaging, and less stressful. Knowing how to engage in difficult conversations with poise boosts your self-esteem. It refines your communication skills, and it helps you speak with charisma and confidence. Knowing how to handle conflict with grace and care makes us into better human beings. And the world needs a bit of that right now. Modern communication has changed, but not always for the better. Social media rewards speed over depth, increasing polarization and the distortion of facts, pushing people into reaction mode rather than reflection mode. Algorithms reinforce our biases, creating echo chambers, making us less open to different perspectives and more defensive in disagreements. Instead of meaningful debate, the culture of conflict has become ugly. We are surrounded by a growing number of personal attacks, sarcasm, passive aggression, and emotional shutdowns, all replacing thoughtful dialogue. In a world where keyboard warriors thrive and genuine understanding and caring has seemingly become rare, knowing how to navigate conflict with courage, kindness, and trust is a superpower. Because in the end, conflict isn't just about winning a debate. It was never about winning. It's about building stronger, healthier, and more authentic connections. And that seems to have been completely forgotten nowadays. But it's not too late though, and there is still hope. Let's take a step back, all together, and let's transform the way we communicate, one conversation at a time. If you like what you hear and want more healthy communication tips, like this video, subscribe, and join this community dedicated to reinforcing genuine, collaborative, human connection. Why do we shut down in arguments? Conflict triggers identity. Conflict feels personal because it threatens our core values. When we feel that our beliefs, identity, or ego is on the line, we stop listening and start defending. I'm right and you are wrong. This is bad and this is good. Ever heard that before? Yeah, I know. It's so sad. Political arguments that become personal attacks instead of discussions, we've seen them and we see them every day. It's not about the facts anymore, it's not about the figures, it's about the other person. Why? Because they're not listening. Someone has spoken about a fact, and just because that person didn't like it, bang, they attack them personally, regardless of the topic at hand. This creates unhealthy and childlike debates, and we see them far too often. We need to go back to the core facts, to the core values and beliefs, not the person. This is how you overcome it. Recognize when your identity is being triggered. Someone maybe pushes your core value, one of your identity features. This is when in an argument you feel attacked. So you feel like someone is saying something about you that isn't true. Or Sometimes even when you feel that person is attacking something and you think that it makes you look in a certain way. So actually it's not that person attacking you, it's yourself attacking yourself. Anyways, in both those situations, you feel like this argument and what the person has just said, an identity feature of yours. When this happens, recognize it. Pause before reacting. Breathe. Ask yourself this before responding. Is my reaction about the issue, or am I making this about me? I know we feel this way sometimes, but more often than not, it's not about us. What is shutting down? This is about the psychological reason why we shut down. Shutting down is a form of emotional defense. We do it when we struggle to handle our own emotions. Yes, we've all felt it. Sometimes emotions are just a bit too much, and that's okay. We're human. It's okay. And on top of it, if you grew up in a strict or emotionally volatile household, you likely learned to stay silent to avoid confrontation. People shouting around you, people being aggressive, people on the contrary telling you to stop talking and just shut up. Yeah, that's just hurtful. What that does in the long run is making you shut down emotionally. And so in arguments, what do? You shut down because you've learned to. Over time, this turns into emotional shutdown. You freeze, even when you want to speak. Brené Brown talks about this very clearly, and she says something that of course is clearly evident, but sometimes you just need to hear it by someone else to make it clear. Brené Brown talks about the fact that if you don't know how to name emotions, you can't talk about them. So what you can do here is very simple. Go through a little dictionary. Go through the dictionary of emotions. How do you call this and how do you talk about this? That's fine. We can't know everything. The more vocabulary we have to talk about our emotions, the simpler and the easier we will be able to talk about them. Talking about emotions is okay. We are human. We feel things. It's normal. Otherwise, we would be robots. And that is so scary. And we need to learn how to talk about our emotions because shutting down is hurtful. Shutting down is not only hurtful to us, it's also harmful for communication. And it leads to miscommunication, which we all want to avoid. Shutdown doesn't make the problem disappear. On the contrary, it allows resentment to build up. This is a story that I've talked about before, but it's the story of the little dragon. The little dragon that the boy finds under his bed one day. It's a little dragon, so it's fine. He can take care of it. But unfortunately, the dragon grows. It grows, and it eats more and more food. It becomes bigger and bigger. And it starts eating food and then clothes and then furniture, and then, it breaks the walls and it eats up the house. And it breaks the house, and the house is completely damaged. The boy could have told his parents about this little dragon when it was small, and they could have figured out a solution to take care of this dragon better. But he didn't, and so it broke the house. Of course, the dragon in this story is the problem. The problem at first was very small, and the boy could have spoken about it with his parents while it was small. But unfortunately, the boy shut down and didn't talk about his emotions because of his parents or because of the environment or because of many things. But anyways, the boy didn't talk about the dragon. And so the dragon became bigger and it destroyed the house. Let's not make emotions destroy our houses. Let's keep our houses built together. It's much nicer. The dragons can be taken care of. It creates distance. When you go silent, the other person feels ignored or dismissed. You don't allow them to come in, and it hinders the closeness between you. So this is how you overcome it. Calmly verbalize a small part of what you're feeling, even if it's just, I'm feeling a little overwhelmed right now. Can we pause? Talk about how you feel. Don't blame, just talk about you and share. Talk about it. It's okay. It's a feeling. It's okay. Let your partner know this happens to you. Shutting down in arguments, so they don't misinterpret it as a rejection. Say it to them. Just tell them, I'm not very good with arguments. I shut down. I need time to think about things and to write it down or to gather my thoughts and come back to you later. It's not a rejection. It's just I can't deal with it. I can't cope. That's okay. Just talk about it. Tell them that you need more time, that you struggle articulating your thoughts. They'll understand. And if they don't, well, that's another problem. I've had this problem for a long time. Growing up in a multicultural family with multi-languages, it was difficult to express myself outside of my family because I had to choose one language to talk about one thing. And sometimes the words just didn't come. and I couldn't express myself. And emotionally, it was really hard because I couldn't express myself, and it was frustrating because I couldn't find the words, and that led to anger, etc., etc. And I just blew up. It's very difficult. It's okay. Just talk about it. I just spoke about it. I just said, I can't really talk right now, but I will come back to you. I know it sounds strange, but this helped me. And then doing this little by little created, safe places where I knew that even if I took time to answer, it was okay. And that person was listening to me. And that I could, use maybe different languages and try to explain the words that I couldn't find. It was okay. They were giving me that time because I said I needed time. The time was given to me because people love me. And, people that love you give you time. People that love you and care for you will give you that space to express yourself. Take it. Tell them they will give it to you. Take it. It's your space. You deserve it. And this leads us to our third part, creating a safe emotional space for arguments or just conversations. This is why conflict feels unsafe. Many people avoid arguments because they fear rejection or abandonment. They feel their core values or identity or choices has been criticized. If someone believes that conflict equals the loss of love, they'll either avoid conflict or fight it aggressively with all they have, claws, paws, teeth, everything. Because deep down, we all want to be loved and to belong. And when we feel that is going to be taken away from us, it's terrifying. That is why we react like that. That is all we care for. So it's normal we want to fight for it. When we feel like this is at risk, everything goes out and we tend to lash out, claws out. But a big thing here is to underscore that arguments are not inherently destructive. It's the lack of emotional safety that turns them toxic. This is why it's crucial to create safe emotional spaces for arguments to stay healthy. It means creating an environment where both people, or several people if you're in a group, feel respected, heard, and secure enough to express themselves fully without fear of judgment, retaliation, or dismissal. When people feel safe, they communicate more openly, they listen more actively, and resolve conflicts with clarity rather than defensiveness. Here's a checklist for a safe emotional space for healthier arguments. A safe emotional space is an environment, physical or psychological, where people feel heard and understood, rather than dismissed or belittled. Where emotions are validated, even if perspectives differ. Where disagreements happen without fear of backlash, humiliation, or punishment. Where constructive dialogue replaces sarcasm, stonewalling, or personal attacks. Where solutions are collaborative rather than competitive. When people feel emotionally unsafe, they shut down, become defensive, or escalate arguments rather than resolving them. That is why leaders, professionals, and even couples must actively create an atmosphere where disagreements don't feel like threats, but rather opportunities for mutual understanding and discovering. If you want more guidance on how to create a safe emotional space at home and at work, download the document in the description below. It's a step-by-step roadmap to help you create a safe emotional space at home or at work. Part 4. How to keep an argument productive instead of toxic. Here are the 3 traps we fall into that ruin arguments. Trap number 1, sarcasm as a defense mechanism. Sarcasm minimizes the other person's emotions, making them feel ridiculed rather than understood. It deflects responsibility and turns the argument into a competition rather than a conversation. Here's an example of sarcasm. Oh, sure, I see how forgetting to take out the trash has completely ruined your life. Recognize that? That's sarcasm. The solution to this? Validate the concern of the other person without over-apologizing and find a solution. Here he goes. You're right, I forgot. Let me take care of it now. Better, right? We like that. Trap number 2, avoiding conflict instead of solving it. Ignoring a problem doesn't make it disappear. It festers and grows into resentment. Remember the dragon story? Many people shut down because they fear confrontation, but silence often makes the situation worse. Because the person just doesn't know what's going on and they can't read your mind. That would be great, wouldn't it? But we can't. Instead of shutting down, pivot to solutions. It's not a big deal. Why are we arguing? That's dismissive. I get that this is frustrating. So what would be a solution that could work for both of us? That's constructive. Trap number 3, passive-aggressiveness, the silent battle. Passive-aggressiveness is a covert way of expressing frustration without directly addressing the issue. This includes giving the silent treatment, making backhanded comments, or using sarcasm disguised as humor. This is why it's harmful. It creates emotional distance and makes the other person feel unacknowledged or manipulated. The real issue never gets discussed, leading to built-up resentment. The solution to this: address issues directly and with clarity. Instead of sulking, express the issue openly. Wow, must be nice to have time to relax while I do everything around here. That's passive-aggressive. What about this? Okay, I feel overwhelmed trying to figure out everything by myself. Can we figure out a way to divide work a little bit more evenly? This is honest and constructive. Arguments become toxic when they involve sarcasm, avoidance, or passive-aggressive behaviors. The key to handling an argument with class is to speak directly and honestly. Avoid dismissive or belittling responses. Pivot to solutions rather than blame. By breaking these toxic habits, you can turn any argument into a productive conversation that strengthens rather than weakens your relationships. Let's recap the top tips that we've seen in this video. Recognize when your identity is being triggered. Separate your ego from your argument. Look at facts, not feelings. Push yourself to speak, even one small little sentence, to avoid total shutdown. Create a safe emotional space. People open up when they feel safe. Avoid sarcasm, passive aggression, and dismissiveness. They escalate conflict instead of resolving it. Focus on solutions instead of trying to be right or proving a point. The goal of conversation is to understand, not to win. Con with, not against. Conversation together. At the end of the day, we all want the same thing. We want to be heard, understood, loved, and to feel safe in our relationships. Handling arguments with class, confidence, and kindness isn't just about winning a discussion. It's about creating trust and deeper connections. Want to improve your communication skills even more? Download my free guides on mastering emotional intelligence in conversations. The link is in the description. If this video has helped you, if you liked the content of this video, and if you think that more people should watch this, hit the like button so YouTube knows to share it with other people. Subscribe for more tips on communication, public speaking, and human connection. For more advice on how to handle miscommunication, watch the video that appears on the screen next. Arguments don't have to be ugly. With a little polish, a sweep of kindness, and a touch of courage, we can make conflict something that builds relationships instead of breaking them. I'll see you in the next video, my friends. Follow your passion and speak up. Take care, you lovely people. Ciao, ciao.